Hello student, this is a continuation of a previous lecture in which we started financial ratio analysis. Today I will cover leverage ratio and many ratios that we didn't cover in the previous one. When we say leverage, it means that you should take care that this term will be used for the debt financing that company has taken so far from its lenders. And this is for your common understanding that when we say debt, so you will take care that account payable accruals will not be part of debt. And for common understanding, you can keep in your mind that debt will be taken on any loan on which we are intended to pay interest. So generally, we do not pay any interest on accruals and uh, suppliers account. So these will not be taken as debt. So leverage will show that how much debt company has, and there are two different ratios that might be applied over here. Equity multiplier is quite complicated. So this is the common ratio that we use for the debt. Debt ratio, whenever question is asking, you will take total debt and you will divide by total assets. So when you are applying this for your study, you should discuss with your faculty member or check the textbook you are using, because at some places total debt might also be taken as total liabilities, and when you take total debt it may be taken in this form that all the current and fixed assets might be added there. And some very specific books and suggested readings also suggest that debt will only be taken long-term debt and any short-term debt on which interest is due. So I would suggest that if you are preparing for the course, so you need to discuss or you need to check your textbook, your recommended readings, that how they are defining total debt. So 0.42 means this company has 42% debt on its balance sheet. Debt to equity is simply showing that how much debt you have based on the equity shareholders are participating in the business. So if shareholder is participating $661 and the debt that we have in this business is 488, it means that on the basis of shareholder equity, your debt is 74%. Equity multiplier is a reverse of debt equity. This is actually showing how much total assets you have based on the stockholder equity. So it's a very interesting point. If stockholder equity is taken honor investment, if honor is making investment of 661, then how a business has assets of 1150? Naturally, there should be some loan on the business. So it means that the additional amount, the difference of these two one is showing debt position. So this is showing the strength of the company, its credit worthiness, and how much assets they are able to use in the business based on what investment they made. So 1.74 means one is their own investment, and 0.74 is showing the contribution by debt financing. So this is company position. As we discussed in the previous lecture, industry average was 40. We were slightly less than industry average, and now we are slightly higher than industry average in terms of debt. Debt to equity is much better, and equity multiplier is better than industry average. Coverage ratio is generally used to assess whether company can pay its interest from its current year earning or not. So when we say interest coverage ratio, it means that we are actually interested uh, uh, once we have taken loan from the financial institution. So the financial institution is interested to know whether company can pay its interest from its earning or not. So for this purpose, we calculate this ratio, and for this ratio, we take earning before interest and tax, generally that we call it operating profit, and we divide it by interest expense. So if operating profit or EBIT is more than interest expense, it means that a company can pay its interest expense easily. Right now, as you can see, we have to pay interest expense and the amount is 15, and the total earning of the current year is 85. It means that from 85 we can easily pay this 15. And how many times we are able to pay this? This is showing 5.67. So this is, if this showing in a higher side, this is much better for the company. So normally the financial institutions are interested to assess company ability to pay their financial charges out of their current year earning. Compared to industry average, our position is not better, but last year we were far less and now we are improving. And profitability ratio generally show all the ratios where we check company performance based on various uh, basis. Like the first one, in this one we check how much gross profit company earn on their sales. So we take two information from the income statement, gross profit, and we divide by sales. You can multiply any ratio by 100 to convert it into percentage. It's up to you. If you can understand that if you divide 520 divided by 1080, you will take 0.48, and 0.48 will give you uh, percentage. If 0.48 is not clear, then you can multiply it by 100 to convert it into percentage. Net profit margin, again you will take net income and you will divide by sales to convert into percentage. As I discussed earlier, you can multiply this by 100 to convert into 3.89. Otherwise, you can simply take 0.0389 as it is appearing on your calculator. Operating profit margin, we take EBIT or operating profit and we divide by total assets, that how much operating profit company earn based on their total assets that they contributed in their business. Return on assets, we take EBIT or operating profit and we divide by total assets. For return on equity, we take net income and we divide by common equity. So this is the analysis chart. Generally, gross profit of the industry average is 48. In last year, we were much better than industry average. Right now, we are at competitive level. There is no issue. Company is performing as industry average, but of course, from the last year, we are on declining trend. So this is our concern. We need to address this issue. Net profit margin last year it was 3.69. Compared to industry average, our position was slightly down. But now in this year, we are better than industry average. Our profit margin is 3.89 percentage, which is slightly higher than industry. Operating profit margin, of course, is less as compared to industry average, as we are at 7.39 compared to industry average of 8.29. Return on assets, industry on average is at 3.98 or around 4%, but we are at 3.65. So this is our concern. We need to investigate that why return on assets of this company is low. Return on equity means the investor, they are able to take return 6.65 from industry average, and last year our position was quite low, but now we are improving and we are reaching to 6.35, which is quite above as compared to last year position. So remember that these are the ratios which are itself is not important. If I simply take this 7.42 and I say that this is good or this is bad, so this is not give you a better picture. Whenever you are analyzing this kind of ratio, it's better to have an industry average and you also have a trend in your own company, so that you can revisit whether your company position compared to industry average is better or low, and whether from the last year your position in this year is improving or going down. Student, these are market value ratios. Generally, investors use it to assess company performance, and based on this, they decide whether they are planning to buy this stock, or they will sell this stock, or they are planning to hold this stock, and vice versa. So there are many ratios that might be applied over here. The first one is price earning ratio. Over here, price means the market price of one share which is currently available. So if we are taking it on a daily basis, then you can apply this ratio on a daily basis. Otherwise, if I take year end price of one share and we also take earning per share of the company and divide it, so this is showing that what price company has in market, how much earning company earn in the year, we divided it, means that the current price of the stock is 12 times higher than what the company earn in this year. So repeating it for your convenience, price per share will be taken from the past data of the company, or you can take closing price which will be available from the stock market data, and earning per share will be available from the company income statement, or you can calculate it with the help of the formula that I have given over here. If earning per share is not available, then you can take net income and you will divide by number of shares outstanding, then you can calculate your self earning per share. In later lectures, I will show all the calculations there. I will show you that how we calculate it. Market to book ratio, again we will take price per share, which is market price of one stock, and book value per share. Sometime it might be given in the data, and if it is not available, then you can calculate it book value per share based on stockholder equity and divided by the outstanding share. Remember that book value per share is showing the historical price of one share with the support of the balance sheet, whatever data a company maintain in their balance sheet. Remember that company is maintaining their balance sheet data based on historical prices, and this market price is future looking, because this is the price which is available in the market where investors are buying and selling this stock, keeping in mind the future trend of this company. So this is showing 0.72. Again, remember that only 0.72 is not important. There are many things which are attached with this one. When we work on at advanced level in the analysis of financial statement, and there we will discuss it in much detail, that how we compare this information, whether this is showing a good trend for the company or not. Earning yield means uh, what percentage of income firm earn based on the price the shareholder are paying in the current scenario. So company earning per share for the current year is 2.25, and the stock price is currently 29. So we divide it, we get 7.76. It means that this is the return which is available to stockholder in terms of stock price. Dividend yield, this is again a return which is obtained based on the dividend that company get. Dividend per share is the cash flow that investors are receiving from the company, and price per share is showing what price of share is available in the market. So again check, dividend per share company paid 1.25 to the shareholders, price at which, just assuming that the investors bought this stock at 29, it means that the investor is able to get 1.25 from the company in terms of dividend per share, while the price they paid was 29. It means that company in terms of dividend, they are able to get return of 4.31. I hope that you will give me feedback and comments, because on the basis of those comments I will prepare my next lectures, and hope you will enjoy it. Thank you very much.